Now, there are a lot of ways to really do an effective block out. You can add color, you can do certain camera angles. But if we get down to the core of it, I don't use the word perfect because, well, not much because it doesn't really exist in games art. But if I had to take one individual that has what I consider to be perfect or near perfect block out, is one of my favorite environment artists that I've mentioned in previous videos, and what we can learn from them, and that would be Maxim Dorokov. I'm probably butchering the name, but yeah. So this is Maxim's portfolio. I'm not going to go into every piece, but there's two pieces that I want to focus on and what we can learn from them. So I consider the way that Maxim does blockouts to be near perfect for one specific reason. And we'll look at those reasons by two pieces. We're not going to look at the artwork itself. We'll look at the two pieces and the way the blockout's been formed using the Blockout story GIF. Blockout story GIF is you take a picture of your main camera angle throughout the project, you put them together, and you get those like flashing images of how your scene's been built. Every environment artist should be doing one of those to start off with. Let's look at two of these. So we've got the Weather Station and Camelot. We'll look at Camelot first, because I love this scene. We'll let it loop round. So let's let it loop from the beginning. Okay, we're looping now. And just watch. Just let it go through to completion. Cool. And then a more recent piece, the Weather Station. Let's look at that. The Blockout story GIF. Let's look at that through to completion. What do you notice? Or what don't you notice? If you want to pause now and guess in the comments, see if you guess right, go for it. What don't you notice is what I ask you. Now, what you don't notice is the camera on the piss. The camera is not jumping around, hopping everywhere, different angles and focal lengths, and a little bit of that is fine, but it's not hopping around everywhere, right? That can show undecisiveness. It can show that you're not confident in what you're laying down early on. It can show your lack of knowledge for cameras and composition. So when you have these storybook GIFs, if you're hopping around multiple times early on, it's not a good sign. It shows that you've struggled to lay something down. With these, the camera barely shifts. It doesn't even move. And yes, there is a lot of experience behind Maxim. But if we can learn one really good lesson to make blockouts as effective as they can be, it's to have confidence and to, or even is it, to have confidence and to lay down effort into your blockout. So I always say that you should spend most of, well, I would say most of the time, but you should spend a lot of time in the blockout. Yes, get your quick forms down. But once you've got your quick forms down, refine, add some second layers of detail, some silhouette, check the camera with what you've got is good to go, and then start taking your screenshots. There are phases to a blockout within the blockout. You know, you've got your first blockout, your second blockout, your third blockout, and eventually start adding materials, right? Especially with these very environmenty sort of scenes where a lot of it is based on materials and props and architecture. So I always say, yeah, 2-3 days, 8-hour days, just vibing with your main camera. Don't even think about a third or fourth camera for now. Just do one camera. I always say 2 cameras, right? One establishing shot, which is, you know, these are establishing shots, and then one close-up shot. But even then, if you have one good establishing shot, when you finish the project, there's always ways to find a second, third, or fourth shot. You're always going to find that at some point, especially with close-ups. But the way I used to teach is I used to say, hey, do one establishing shot and one close-up shot. Get it defined and don't move the camera. If you need to refine it a tiny bit, sure, but get feedback on your camera and don't move it and lock it in and don't panic. Because environments, they take a long time. And if you're like me, I can get inside my own head quite a lot when doing an environment. So I'm there for like 200 hours and it's like, is this good? This looks terrible. I hate looking at this scene. Oh my God, what have I done? This is a great example here to have confidence, lock in that camera, get feedback on it, trust in what you've got and trust the process, because a lot of environment art is environments looking really ugly until the final 20%. And the same for games as well. Your games look really ugly for a while, then they come together in like the final bit of production, I find. So it's just one of those things with environment art, right? So I think what we can learn from Maxim, and again, is why is one of my favorite artists purely because of this. The confidence in the blockout and the camera rarely changes. And that is a good practice to have, because if you can get that and show it that you're not moving that camera around dramatically, you're working in a nice structured way. I know that a lot of students especially like to rush the blockout because they want to make cool models and materials. You should not move on from the blockout until it's really had a lot of effort put into how it's composed and where the silhouette and layout is and all that sort of stuff. And then you can just start dropping down materials and you've always got that camera there no matter what. So yeah, great confidence in this blockout. This is something I'd recommend everyone aim for. Starting off, aim for minor changes, but don't start dramatically changing the camera early on, because then you've, to a degree, you've almost failed the blockout with these types of scenes, because these types of scenes are locked into a camera angle and then the additional camera angles are found afterwards. So when you're doing this type of portfolio work that is designed to, one main shot, that you really need to lock that in the blockout phase. So yeah, I thought this was really cool as an educational point. I'll post Maxim's link in the description. I believe Maxim also has some marketplace stuff, like this scene is on the marketplace for $99. Again, the highest quality of environment art and materials out there, I personally say, and worked on Stray, which is cool. So that's the lesson. That's what a really good, near perfect blockout process looks like. Any questions, ask them below. But for now, peace.